welcome to everybody to today's town hall. It is March 7th. And in today's town hall, we want to have a little brainstorming session on reimagining the town halls. Usually in the town halls, we have a lot of discussions around governance, but we've heard from a couple of community members that they would also like to have discussions around other topics and maybe have a whole different format of town halls. So today we're basically just coming together to brainstorm and see what other possibilities are there. What could we do with the town halls? So thank you everybody for joining. And hi Curtis, hi Rafael, hi Tuso, hi Digital Arcs Phantom Note Taker. And Mauro just joined as well. All right. Cool. Thanks for joining, everyone. So is there anybody in the room that has never been to a deep funding town hall? You can just either raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm new here.
Sorry, who was that?
It's Tuso.
Tuso. Really? You've never been to a town hall? Interesting.
Deep town hall. Like it's more like this first time this year.
Okay, and how many people do we have in the room that have been to a couple of deep funding town halls? Like at least 2 or more. Anybody? Mauro? Yes. Duke?
What's the question again? Sorry.
If you have been to 2 or more town halls, like if you have been to
Is 2 hands enough?
Okay, so we have a couple of people. So Ubi, was that a hand because you want to speak, or is that a hand because you've been to the town hall?
I'm saying I've been to 200
Okay.
town halls.
Okay, great. So from the people that have been to the town halls, I would love to hear if you think we should expand our topics beyond governance discussions. Do any of you think it would be of value to expand our topics? And maybe even change the format. Like maybe we could, let's say, bring on guest speakers or partner with other programs and do something together and just have a whole bunch of different discussions. I would love to hear from any of you if you think we should expand our topic range, or if you think, well, no, governance is just fine.
Well, I was in the last town hall of LATAM, led by Guillermo and inspired in the initiative that we get used in Cardano ecosystem. And the guest format is interesting, but also people get exhausted of that. But when you find the perfect mix between governance and guest and you change it every week, I think it's an interesting way to look at. To have this governance discussion, for example, when we need to make a hard decision, but also to have some flexibility in those aspects. Just my opinion.
Yeah, okay, good. Rafael?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Judith. As part of the deep funding, I am really, and we are towards this decentralization process, right? That we want to have everybody giving their inputs and decisions and etc. I'm going to hold my own opinion here towards this to avoid, contaminating what people are going to say. However, something that I would like to build on top of what Mauro said, which is a very nice and interesting point of view, is what we have discussed already. Because if people are expecting something, they will to the town halls and etc. If we change too much the format during the process, it might be a problem. However, if we make awareness and set the expectations of, so in 1 week we are going to have a speaker, in 2 weeks we are going to have a governance, and so on, announcing through the community website or through Deep Funding website itself, that would kind of mitigate the problem with being different perspectives or ways of doing it. And we are going in this direction, right, of having a schedule of what's going to happen in the future for people to make their decisions if they are going to attend or not, okay? But again, I'm going to wait all of you, and I hope each of you gives good inputs into it or inputs, and then I can perhaps make my own. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. Yeah, let's go to Ubio. What do you think?
Yeah, just like Rafael, I have opinion, but I think I really want to hear what other people would say. But to that, I think my opinion is gonna form based on one question, and it's a very personal question. I would that maybe one or two people would volunteer to answer that, and probably the community try to see how we can get more people to answer that question. The question is, why do you come to Deep Funding? And what are your expectations in Deep Funding? Because a product can only satisfy its customers, and you can't be building for people that are not your customers. So until we clear that basic assumption on why people come to Deep Funding, especially the town halls, what are we coming here for? Changing the structure and the format might not necessarily solve the problem. We have to first get why are people coming to the town halls.
Yeah, I agree. So why do you personally come to the town halls?
Well, for me, I come here because I want to meet interesting people.
Okay.
Yeah, probably if other people can just want to be frank to, so whatever topic, even if you say you guys would be discussing, I don't know what, football here. So far as I'm sure I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna see Rafael, see Mauro, see interesting people and just get their thoughts on it. I'm gonna be here. That's me. I don't know what how that relates to other people.
Yeah, great. I'd love to hear from other people why they come to the town halls and what their expectation would be from attending. Okay, William, you got your hands up.
Yeah,
Go
thank
for it.
you. I've come to several town halls in the past, and one of the things I've always enjoyed, as Ubio is saying, is this is quite an eclectic and also very interesting community. And it's nice hearing both how people feel about some of the governance issues, but for me especially, some of the technical issues. So we've talked in the past about some of the projects that people are working on, whether it be financial modeling, et cetera. And that's something, especially as a professor at a smaller institution, I'm in central New York right now, and as opposed to a large research institution, we don't have postdocs coming in 5 times a week to give talks on various things. So I've always enjoyed educating myself about not just artificial intelligence from a sort of straight technical point of view, but also the ancillary topics. So I've enjoyed that, and I look forward to that in the future.
William, let me ask you something. I know you for a while, and I know that you participate in a lot of town hall and community activities, not only in the funding, in other ones. But this kind of speech, or the people you want to learn, you don't want to hear pitches from projects, right? You don't want to hear the marketing of the project. You are more interested in the technical issues that they are fronting or they are facing. What kind of specific topics do you want to hear? Because as you may know, in other town halls from other communities or activities, the main pitch from the projects became some marketing activity and no one was interested in hear it, and the town hall has low participation. So I like the thing you mentioned, but if you can be more specific in that, will be really helpful.
Sure. So before sort of associating with SingularityNET, I had no idea literally about crypto. It was a strange word. And so, hearing about that is very interesting. Knowledge graphs would be a technical topic that I would be particularly interested in talking about. And I know that everybody will have different areas that they'd be interested in. So you don't need an hour and a half, but, 15, 20 minutes for some headlines in a field like that would be really fun.
All right. Thank you for that. Curtis, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything William said, of some of the reasons I joined myself. But additionally, I do like to keep up to speed with what's going on in Deep Fund, any platform changes, any rule changes, distribution changes, just to kind of understand and be able to make that process as smooth as possible. And then on top of that, getting a level of clarity of how I can add and contribute my value to the Deep Fund ecosystem. And I think each week you get a little bit more and more, oh, hey, they have a need for this. And where is my value at, aligned with that? So those are the two things that I take the most out of.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Emotu.
Hello, sorry for the delay. Hello, everyone. Yeah,
Hi.
so yeah, I wanted to share a bit of how I came on the program and wanted to ask a question. So basically, I think same with me, I didn't really have much knowledge about crypto, and I came through Obu. Obu opened up Deep Funding to me, and I got a lot of insight and a little bit of education from the program. Love to meet people, but the question I want to ask is, I kind of have a limitation, kind of. So I'm dyslexic, so I wanted to ask if Deep Funding has a platform that helps to assist dyslexic people, so that more values can be easily contributed from my end into the Deep Funding platform.
Sorry, you're
Okay,
asking if Deep Funding has a platform for dyslexic people.
Can I take
Yes.
that one, Judith, please?
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
looking for support or something for this.
Yeah. Emotu, hi. I am Rafael. I am from the Deep Funding program, the operations manager. Thanks for your question. We don't have at this point something pretty strictly related to dyslexic people or in general. But what we can do is, of course, to have options to support and coach.
You sent me the list.
Joanna, your audio. Okay. So sorry. But definitely we are more than keen to support you into a project that goes in that direction, okay, through RFPs or other and to learn with this process as well, to support more people that has the same situation, because we want to be as open to everyone as possible, okay, regardless your issues or anything like that. So having something, just to wrap up the answer, would be having something at this point specifically turned for dyslexic people. No, we don't, but we would be more than keen to have some sort of solution for that, okay? And we can be talking in two ways. First, to support people with this kind of situation in the applicants of submission of projects and so on, but also to create projects that can be onboarded on our platform that support people that has this issue. Okay.
Dyslexia. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. At this
Yeah.
point, Judith, please.
All right. Anybody else wants to give us a short feedback on why they are joining the town halls? And maybe let's see who's in the room. I'm gonna call on some people. If you're not able to speak, it's fine. But Kenn, you've been here a few times. Kenn, are you able to speak? See. No. Okay, let's see. How about Walter? You've been joining town halls quite a few times. Are you able to speak?
Yes, thank you. Welcome back from Panama.
Thank you.
So let me instead answer an earlier question. So what I would very much like to see is that we somehow attract more of the actual proposal writers, either awarded or not. You know, over a couple of years, there's been now like 3.5 funding rounds, which tells me that there must have been like 150 to 200 individuals variously engaged quite a bit. And yet we don't see just about any of them. If you look at this population here, besides the bots, you know, we tend to know 80% of the people, which means, you know, it's kind of a very small subset. And we have a, you know, a concept of building a, you know, constructing a builder community, but it seems like the builders don't know that. Yeah, so that's where I'd love for more.
Are you saying that it would be nice to invite them into the town hall so they can give an update on how their project is doing? Maybe
That's, yes,
after
it could be as it could be as utilitarian as that. Always welcome, but also basically figure out what would attract that that population, and whether it's more social or talks on specific meaningful subjects or interactions, you know, down to a bit of tech or progress of a proposal, but that we grow beyond, you know, this kind of tight and fun but somewhat limited group, and play in a much larger pond, you know, with hundreds and hundreds of wonderful people in it.
Okay. Mauro, you had your hand up.
Yeah, well, again, I will share my opinion here as an awarded team and a personal opinion. But the main idea when the concept of town hall born, it was to allow the project to have a way of contact with the official Deep Funding team, with the rest of the people, to find help and talk about different aspects. That's the main goal when the town halls were founded. It's also a good tool to engagement or to attract people when they are starting in the Deep Funding ecosystem and they need help and they need more connection and expand the networking. Also, it helps to the people. Sometimes the developer are not business administrators. So sometimes the proposers of our of the proposal, indeed, sorry for repeat the word, but the proposers are a business administrator, and they hire or they have in their teams developers, and always the people with more business administration background or more social background or more commercial background are connecting in town halls. In the whole community, it's more difficult to catch the interest of the developers to attend to these meetings, because the main issues that they have are regarding the code or the development of the project. And what they usually get to do is to attend to technical workshops or hackathons, etc., that is under conversation. So regarding what Walter say, I think it's really, really interesting, and it could change. But as I see it, in the early beginnings, the town hall borns to a place to everyone to answer questions and to solve their doubts about the deep funding ecosystem, to the business administrators get know and get more publicity to their own projects, and also to allow everyone to be informed about whatever is happening in the deep funding, the rules, the stages, etc. It's the point of contact between the foundation, the projects, the community, the voters, the reviewers, etc. This is the way I see it. And why is focused like this way? We could change it, but it's not technical oriented. Maybe in the future we can do more activities like technical workshops or hackathons, as we are discussing. But yeah, this is my personal thought and my personal opinion. And for example, I will glad to know the opinion of the real people that is coding in the deep funding ecosystem, what you would like to see. Because for me, it's simple to say, as a marketer or someone that is doing marketing in the ecosystem, what the developers want, but I would like to hear by their own. So for example, I've seen Kenn, sorry to say your name, but if you could tell me if this town hall is effective for you, or what do you would like to see as a coder or someone who is developing a project, will be really interesting. Sorry for being a little rough in this issue, but again, I'm talking right now as Mauro, not as part of any institution or circle or whatever.
Okay, let me jump in. So I've been here and almost very consistent. I don't think I've missed up to 3 town halls or 4 since the time I started coming here. Interestingly, Mauro, we may want to say that the community is not extremely technical, but I can bet that the town halls that we've had the longest stay have been some of the most technical town halls, right? Where we're discussing something technical. I recall one that Tommy held. We're discussing about the AGI and if the AGI would truly be held and all of that. And we had a discussion past the extra 1 hour that was supposed to be on top of the 1 hour. And then we even had another one like, so, and this hasn't been just one instance. It's been an instance on many cases whereby when we've had to go into some technical discussions, we've gone deep. So I don't totally want to agree with that assertion that it's mostly that the technical people don't find a home here, because on many instances, this is not on just one instance, on many instances we've had technical discussions, and it's been one of the best technical discussions that I have had or ever been to. Yeah, I would say so there's something there's a way I'm trying to coin what is in my mind, right? So there is inside technical issues, we also have social technical issues. We have governmental issues in technical issues. We have, so when we talk about technical issues, it doesn't necessarily mean about writing codes. And that's where it doesn't always have to be about the latest model, but it could be about discussing the sociocracy around some of this technical stuff. And with, like I said, I can say convincingly that we've had a lot of interest when it comes to these issues on this thing. However, I would not deny the fact that we have interested people that are interested in government and people that are interested in other issues. Now, I really think maybe we need to start thinking, how do we structure it in a way that people that are interested in the technical issues around would still find a home, while the people that are interested in just the daily operations will still find a home here, and the people that just want to come in and explore other alternatives will still find a home. I guess that's where we come in here.
I agree.
Yeah, sorry to pull. Ken, if you still ask me, I would still want to hear your opinion, because you're one of the longest persons that we've also had in the town halls as well. Sorry, Gavriel.
Gavriel, go ahead.
Yeah.
I can try, but audio is spotty.
Okay.
Please try, Ken.
Everything else.
No. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, Gavriel. I'll make it really, really quick. On my side, I come to it as kind of like an artist and also someone with coding experience who's worked a little bit in NLP and AI. And in this particular environment, I've been able to participate in creating AI much more than I ever have before. And as a science fiction fan and a science fan, the idea of affecting in some way the evolution of AGI is huge. I think that by its very nature, there's a strong science and mathematics component to projects and people who vote. If it were possible somehow to create an area for social good projects or cultural projects, I think we may find interesting outcomes emerging from that as well. But the human side of this is, I think, very important in what distinguishes SNET town halls from other groups I've participated in. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Oh, interesting. How would you say it's different when you say you've attended other town halls?
Other town halls have been either really focused on the cultural or artistic or social aspect of, I guess, what's happening in our society in terms of computer use, remote work, or accommodations needs for autistic, for example. Other forums have been really focused on the coding side. They tend to be really separate. I find here with Town Hall, for me at its best, the most satisfying is when that's intermixing, because it's kind of a more complete picture and we can use the science and the visionary aspect of it in service or to affect the human side of it and vice versa. So I don't think there's any perfect way, but that confluence, almost like different waters, I think is really exciting to me and points towards the future more so than just having siloed concerns.
Thank you for that. Interesting. Gavriel, you had your hand up for a long time. Please go ahead.
Thanks. I think I'm agreeing very much with what Ken's sharing there. In my view, I see the town hall as a common space for all groups in the town, right? With the opportunity to share culture and challenges and requests and just kind of good time and connection. It's not a working group per se. It's not a narrow focused special interest group. It's not just for techies. It's not just for one like artist or whatever. It's just a cultural share that gives opportunity for all of those different groups to get together once in a while and just be in touch with each other and to share touch base kind of thing. So if that model makes sense for the group here, then it would, to me, it would be a question of how might we segment the town hall calls to be able to invite and involve those different elements of the community. So there might be like a little segment for people who want to share technical things or tooling that they're using or project updates, just like a flexible agenda that covers the different spectrum of possible topics and conversations in groups. And then to me, that would be that would fit my view of what a town hall suggests in the name.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to hear from people if you prefer a conversation, like just a group conversation based format, or do you also prefer a presentation based format where just people just come and present? Like if you could only pick, I guess if you could only pick one, do you prefer the conversation based or presentation based town hall formats? Presentation based in terms of where we invite either guest speakers or proposers and they present their proposals. You can just type it in the chat if you want. Gavriel, you still have your hand up?
Yeah, a comment on that. One of the things that I believe will be one thing I believe will help community development tremendously, as I've suggested in a few places, is X spaces. And Mauro and I have started to have a conversation around that. I think we're due probably to have a more focused conversation on that topic, but it's open. I've mentioned it in the chats and there's been a bit of conversation. I think the town hall experience is great. To me, it's the people who are in the town. Yes, we might have guests, they might want to participate, but I don't want us to be losing the opportunity, the leverage that we can get by being in a more public venue. So that's why I have a strong interest in X spaces. I'm not sure, I'm not saying that means we shouldn't have guest presenters in the town hall, but I just want to keep having visibility of this opportunity to get onto more of a public forum and grow the community rather than just cater to the existing community.
Yeah, so you're saying every other week we could, instead of having a Zoom call, we could just have an X space.
For example.
Or are you saying they should all happen on X?
No, I like I like the town hall. Not everyone here is on camera, but I think the camera thing definitely adds a dimension, a quality to community opportunity. I think that's great. But yeah, some mix, not one, not all or the other, but some mix of stuff and different, maybe different types of events or some mix.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Mauro, you had your hand up, I think.
I think
Yes,
Duke's hand was up when I was talking, but I don't know where it came down.
Sorry, what?
Well, go ahead,
Duke,
please.
Duke. His hands was up when I was talking, so I don't know why he brought it down. So I'm calling him.
Okay, yeah. So my hand was up at the time, but I can't remember who was speaking, and the person literally reflected the thought I had. Okay, I think it was Mara that was speaking. I was going to suggest the possibility of having a separate like hackathon event for the concern that Walter rose earlier. So having maybe like hackathons or just a separate group for developers, maybe even if it's a work group or sort of like what we have in the ambassadors, work groups and guilds. You know, I know this is Deep Funding, is pretty different from the ambassadors program, but just something that brings all the developers and all of the programmers, you know, under one canopy. You know, it could be a way of curating and cultivating, you know, the developer community, so that when we're having town halls like this, that sub community, you know, can now serve as a liaison of some sort to compel or to motivate developers to join us here, because I think to an extent, the concern that Walter brought up, you know, there's some validity to it, right? We just don't want to have, it's an AI community, so we want to have marketers talking, business analysts talking, we want to have the developers themselves in the community, right, also talking. I said something in one of the meetings we had, in one of the breakout sessions we had, I can't remember which one, but what the contribution I made in that meeting was the fact that we need to have a way of curating our content and our ideas in such a way that we don't just attract people during the deep funding rounds, and then right after the rounds they leave us, right? And then they go on a long hiatus and then wait for the next round, and then it's sort of like a parasitic relationship. We have to be able to curate our ideas or our programs or our workshops in a way that attracts people and retains people, right? Because we're building an ecosystem.
You just disappeared.
Duke?
He's still there.
And in building an ecosystem, the next things yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
You just cut out, at least for me.
Yeah, just the
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So I'm literally joining with my phone, and I had a call coming. So that was what I wanted to say at the time. I think so yeah, that's just it.
Yeah, great point. Do you have any idea on how you would do that? Any idea on what topics or workshops you would present in order to keep the people in between the deep funding rounds? Like, do you have any idea on what would be the most interesting for people, or do you have a preference?
Oh yeah, I think the first steps we would need to think of employing would be to take our meetings outside of more private platforms like Zoom. Someone was speaking to that recently. I'm sorry, I just can't remember who was doing that, but that was an excellent idea. I think the first things we would need to do is to take our meetings outside of private platforms like Zoom onto more public spaces like Twitter Spaces, right, or Clubhouse, depending. But I think Twitter Spaces just work fine. The more people feel that they can be a part of what you're doing without necessarily being a member, people don't like to be converted, or they don't like to feel that you're attempting to convert them, even though we know we want more people in our ecosystem, to buy into our ideologies and, just work with us and, expand the ecosystem and all that. But if we go out speaking to them that way, they would draw back from us, they would refrain. But if we create conversations that appeal to the broader community of developers, broader community of AI enthusiasts, broader community of marketers and all of that, and they know they could just join these meetings, and then in the course of the meetings we let them know at the end of the day, oh, this is who we are, this is what we represent. We probably could have just somebody, a member of the team, just advertise the the Deep Funding program, SNET, and all of that. That could serve as a bait, allow me to use the word, a bait to attract them first, right, into the kind of conversations that we're interested in, and then also attract them into our program. And then if we now have I'm more familiar with work groups and guilds a lot, because that's what I'm a group, or just a sub, that that all proposers, are in, maybe just like we have awarded circles, right, where everyone who had been awarded is a part of. If we could have a community where proposals are in, and then we communicate with them from that point, and then we begin to get them involved in our programs, our services, and all of that. We may not get everybody, but most certainly is a fact that we will get more people than this other method. My thoughts completely.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure who was next, either Unio or Gavriel. I'm not sure who had their hand up.
Rafael, your hands were up. Rafael was up, yeah.
Okay.
I had my hands up. Yeah, indeed, I raised it. But
okay,
please
go
go
ahead.
on. We have plenty of people to talk. I don't want to get the spot. Please, Gabriel.
Okay, so I want to share somewhat of a tension that I've noticed for myself. I think from my background, in growth and marketing, and also as current co-lead of the awarded team circle, the survey that I did, and I think it's worth raising this as a tension point. The survey showed, and I pulled it up here, there were 17 votes, which is maybe approximately a third of what I'm guessing is the total number of awarded team members that are in the channel there. So 17 people voted. 10 of them said that they want to be more, that they are more heads down focused on producing their project. And 7 said that they're heads up engaged with the flow of the community and the participation. And that was the sentiment of those people that voted. What we can assume is that given that maybe 2/3 of people didn't vote, I take that as a vote for them not being heads up and engaged in the participation of the community. So it seems that by far the majority of people who are from the awarded teams want to focus on excelling with their project. So I think that's very interesting. My view is that the town hall is probably maybe the only venue in terms of community calls where we have just a general mix of topics, because like we've been saying, suggested from a bunch of people, it's kind of a cultural, artistic expression and technical stuff. It's like a nice mix of stuff. Beyond that, I would imagine that the different groups want a subject expert focused conversation on the various topics, such as governance. I like those kind of conversations. Or the technical stuff. I'm not a developer, so it'll go over my head. I'm very interested. I want to listen in to expert technical conversations, but I don't want those conversations to be watered down to the point of irrelevance to an actual developer, where kind of it's slowing the group down and they're not really productive. I want them to be able to have a really solid AI technical conversation. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. And the various other groups and factions that are maybe existent. So yeah, so I think that's my tension is, I think we're at risk of muddying the waters by trying to be all things to all people in all of the conversations. I would personally like to see some segmentation and some clarity on the different types of meeting and what the agenda is and who it's most appropriate for, something along those lines. Personally, I feel that would help reduce this kind of what feels to me like confusion about what we're talking about what we're supposed to talk about. And I feel like we get stuck in that to some extent. Thanks. So much more targeted conversations that maybe not as many people can join, but I guess we'll switch it up, right? So everyone gets their turn for a targeted conversation. Because yeah, you are right, but we are having a lot of conversation where we're trying to get as many people involved as possible, so they are a bit broader. Yeah, that's great feedback. Rafael and Unio, who wants to go first?
Okay, yeah, let me go first. Okay, yeah. So going by the statement that Gavriel made, that a town hall should be for everyone in the town, right? There are 2 implications to that statement, which I must say I totally agree. But there are 2 implications to that statement, and I have to bring up the first implication with respect to some of the opinions that are although laudable, that I don't think I totally do agree. One is the fact that the town hall is not a marketing space. We are not here to bring. So, of course, new people would definitely come in, but I don't think that's the core essence of the town hall, right? You have to be in the town first. That's why you're coming to the hall. You have to be, so it's already, we have different people already in different circles, different organizations, different places, but we just want to meet and then collect, and by that interaction of people, ideas flows, things get better, a lot of things happen, which of course we have to now see what are the points of commonalities that bring all of these guys together, which I think is what you guys have to figure out. But what I don't agree with is us trying to position the town hall as a means of bringing in new people into the town itself. So Twitter space has its place and it's totally fine. But the essence is not to create a town hall. That is where we have the marketing being done, bringing people in, onboarding. We bring people to different places and they're all onboarded in those different places. But when you're onboarded, right, we need to bring you all together. We need to all come together so that we can speak one language and benefit from your wealth of experience and from your wealth of knowledge, and I as well benefit from you, and you as well benefit from my own wealth of knowledge. So in essence, what I'm saying is we have to keep pushing up our drastic marketing campaigns, but our marketing campaigns are to bring people to deep funding. But the essence of the town hall is to converge, is to bring that confluence of the where that whole human intricacies is being brought together, and then people can enjoy the different aspects that makes this person said, that makes it very human, like Ken said. So this is where we bring all of that together, and we have to maintain that. Yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Bio, and I love with how much passion you speak. You have me convinced just by your energy alone.
So I'm going to speak slow to avoid being, no, just kidding. Yeah, but I would like to say, Duke, spot on what you said. When we finished the round 3, the main idea in my head was, hey, with this amount of proposals and projects that we selected, we have to make these people mingle and to create connections and engagements, not only for the next round. Oh, I finished this project, so I need to apply to the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, because then you don't have synergy, right? So in this case, 1 + 1 will always be 2. We want to have that 1 + 1 being 3, 4, and 5. And the only way of achieving this is by making people engage further than only developing what they were selected for. Then we had a very nice insight from Gavriel. And by the way, Gavriel mentioned that he is one of the coordinators of the awarded team circle. And this circle itself, it was an extrapolation, exactly what I am saying, what we had as a strategy before, of making teams to connect between them or among them, right? Perhaps one project can rely on other and people and etc. So this itself, the realization of this circle is already something that goes in this direction. But then gave us data, right? Thank you for that, Gavriel. You did a terrific work with that. My question is, even though we have, because the connections are important, right? This synergy is important. My question is, even though we have 2/3 of the people involved saying that they are heads down, shouldn't be our purpose to change this culture? Because one thing is for us to go with the flow, right? In the comfort zone of everybody. The other strategy that I think, my personal opinion is where we should be going, is to change the culture of these people that believes that they are there for only doing the projects, and make them well, it's a way of saying engage in many initiatives that we have, okay, and to co-create and create and build this. So this is a question that I would like to raise here for all of you. And about this diversity, I am seeing here clearly we have a pretty diverse background of people, but not only the background, also the interest of doing, because people want to have technical or business. People want to have talks or want to have a more integrative process where they can talk as we are doing here. We heard about hackathons and so on. What we had at the beginning of the town hall, governance and so on, what we had at the beginning of the town halls was exactly a format where we had a main room. And this main room was first set to have it announcements or common things that we should be talking to the community and hearing from the community. And then you would have breakout rooms where people would go, and then we can have breakout rooms on the technical side, on the business side, and whatever. So by having this, you can have the diversity of people join for a common case, which is deep funding, hearing the main things, the fundamental things, and then they can go into what is appealing to them. Unfortunately, what we didn't achieve to have this working perfectly is the number of attendants. Because then we had, for instance, today we have 20 people. It's the average that we have since the beginning. Perhaps we jumped from 12 to 20, which is expressive, but still too few people to go into many breakout rooms that are talking about different things, right? So the goal, I guess, Ubio said, it's to populate the city, the town, to have the proper town hall being used in many ways. As onboarding, for instance, I don't see a problem to have it here as teaching people and making them understand what's deep funding and how they can go with us. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafa. Mauro or Gabriel, I'm not sure who was next.
Would be Gavriel.
Gavriel is first, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, to Ubio's point, I really enjoy listening to Ubio. I think so much good insight. Maybe just because I agree with him a lot, I think he's a genius. So, but I do agree in essence the idea that the town hall is for town people, and so here on Zoom is good, and what would then be on a public forum would be seen as something different to a town hall. That fits for me very well. I wonder, to Rafael's point about the breakout rooms, maybe what was done at the beginning of those town halls, the communal thing, is the town hall stuff, and maybe the breakout rooms are things that could be leveraged into the public forum, like X Spaces events, and that might help grow those audiences. So it might be 3 of us or 5 of us start off in the X space for a particular topic. If we do a fair job of marketing it and the algorithm starts to work, then that 5 people can suddenly become 20 or 25, and then we've got a nice mixed group. So maybe those breakout specialist conversations might be the things that could be over on X Spaces. I guess that's it.
I just want to add, Gabriel, in one proposal from mine from Deep Funding Round 2, we get used to do X Spaces and have a huge engagement from the community, like 400 listeners, because you know how X Space works, that maybe at the same time not too much people is connected, but they prefer to hear it like a podcast. I agree in a lot of things that you say. I just want to mention that if we don't have the town hall like a space to express our feelings or our ideas, where we are going to express it, right? It's the perfect place to start to sharing these opinions or thoughts or feedbacks. Another aspect to mention is that we cannot obligate people to like the topics that we are discussing. We can't obligate some developer to talk about governance, because governance maybe is not an interesting aspect for them, or economics or whatever, or business administration. So what we can do, I agree that the town hall must be for the people, for everyone, but maybe in some town halls so made a specific monthly special to talk about different aspects, or have guests that Judith mentioned. So maybe for most technical community oriented, and another month some more economic community oriented, to have this refresh of the topics at least once a month, to have this opportunity. But yeah, and I think that the X spaces will increase the number of the people that is connected in the engagement on here, the space, and for sure from the marketing circle we can help with the structure and to make it publicity. If the awarded team wants to host it, it's always more than welcome. But yeah.
Just want to emphasize to Rafael. I think Rafael, the point you're jostling with, I think Mauro spoke to it from a marketing mindset or brain. It's very difficult to think that we can take one group and convert them into the type of group that we want them to be. But that doesn't mean that we have to we neglect them. Developers might want to talk about the latest AI tool set. And that should be the conversation that they have and that they're enabled to have. And then adjacent to that, they will see other opportunities and maybe they'll be inspired, such as if we have various X spaces happening, they'll at least see the notification and then maybe a topic will show up of interest and they'll tune in and they'll have a listen and they'll get a sense of it. But we're not necessarily trying actively to convert them into caring about community governance, as Mauro, I think, well put. Yeah, hopefully that's clear.
Well, when I said culture changing, wasn't at all to enforce people to go to something different from what they are used to, right? But in the end, these people or these project leads and members and etc., they will be benefited by this type of processes. That's the thing. By telling them and showing them that, hey, this is important not only for us, it's for you as well. You want to be, you want to have more projects being selected or having more funding through it. This is beneficial. And this can attract people as well. It's only one perspective that we can approach into this sense, right? And the other side is by being in silos and not communicating, you are not going to thrive as it would be, as it should be, right? So having this, and the media that we are going to use, channel, it might be Twitter X or Twitter Space or X Space, Zoom or Google Meet or whatever it is. It's up to, of course, I am all for frictionless process. I do agree that X Spaces is more open and we would have more engagement if doing that. I wasn't specifically saying that we have to have this setup of main room and channels and breakout rooms. My only concern with that is that we can lose the opportunity as Deep Funding and SingularityNET to tell people about specifics that are fundamental for everyone, right? The main room, it should be, well, at the beginning, the idea was to give general announcements, for instance, that will, regardless your preference, will be applied to you, right? So this was my, what I was bringing. Main room for general audience, and then you have channels, it might be X-Space or whatever, but to have people receiving the information, the important information. By the way, we can also, as now the SingularityNET is using, we can also have X as this way of doing announcements and etc. Okay, it's also a possibility. When I say main room and breakout rooms, I'm not saying about this here, but it's the framework. Okay, I'm not referring to tools specifically.
We are already doing it, so we are one step forward. I just want to add, and just as a comedy relief, if I look mad, I'm not mad, it's just the sun is too powerful here that I can see too much.
All good. You are excused.
Where are you?
Just to close up my point, I think the other note I took here, something Ubio had also said, relevant, I think, to what you're saying, Rafael, is that the town halls could be seen as kind of a deeper level of engagement, like an upgrade to getting people into the community. So there's nothing wrong with having X spaces that are specific to a topic and then plugging the fact that we have community town halls on a regular basis, and that invites them, and we can make those announcements and get a bit of that cross-pollination of ideas and opportunity that's available, and then invite those people, and they can come when and if they want to the actual town hall. I think that because from that perspective of the town hall is for town people, you know, if someone wants to move to a town, they want to meet the people in the town, right? So they're welcome to come and visit the town's town hall and see if this is the kind of town that they actually want to move to officially.
And by the way, I had experiences with Mauro on X Spaces, and I have, well, it was one of the actually 2 or 3, right, Mauro, or whatever. We had plenty of people engaging. So yes, that's one way of doing it. Again, wasn't about the tool that we are going to use, right? The channel itself. It was more about having these specificities, but we also need to have a voice to say on the need, what we need to announce, and etc. for a broader community.
Okay,
with regularity.
Yeah, on a side note, I made reference to the fact that I also noticed that we in town halls are never discussed in the different circles. So probably yeah, we may want to go deeper fundamentally to find out how we can make town halls and make better participation and all of those kind of stuff, right? But I think primordially it starts from that base, right? There is no reason why anyone should join a town hall, right? Most people don't even, so before we even get into these discussions that we're probably having, is the question, do people even understand that there is town hall? And to what extent is it important to them? Because it's now that we're probably trying to put some level of relevance to it. Because let's be frank with yourself, prior now it was just like, oh, whenever you feel like coming, you come in. And so if that is the case, and so it's very possible, Duke was telling me the other day about someone asking him, what's Deep Funding Town Hall? And the person has been in the ecosystem for how long? So if we leave it for chance, then it's going to be for chance, right? I just say that to mean, like, if it's important to us, then of course we should talk about it.
So when the proposers, someone explained this to me, do they get some type of team meeting? Like before they're being awarded, do the proposers get a type of team meeting?
That would be on an education basis, right? To teach them how to do the submission, for instance, and the principles of each pool and etc. And that was part of what I did with Mauro with Twitter Spaces. That was the general idea, yes, to teach. After they are selected, we do have meetings and regular meetings. Welcome or the onboarding.
And in those meetings, are the town halls being mentioned? Like, are they aware?
Yeah, it's mentioned, yes. I even put it in my presentation, the slides presentation, yes, and other initiatives that we have as well.
Because honestly, what Gavriel said, I find that so shocking that 2/3 of the proposers do not want to engage in community calls when they know that it's the community who's voting on their proposals. I mean, how does that make sense? If I would have a proposal, I would be at every town hall and I would engage as much as I could with the community. So I'm wondering, are they just not aware of it? Or what's going on there?
So yeah, before Gabriel says something, so there's 2 things, right? We have awareness, and then we have the importance of that awareness. And so what my opinion is coming from is another level of that awareness that brings the importance of that awareness to them. So people might be aware, but they are just aware as, okay, I came in here and I didn't get to any town hall and I got funded. So they're aware that there is a town hall, but what is the import of that awareness? There's been no correlation between that town hall and them. So when there's no correlation, people treat it as anything. So and I think that to be able to create that correlation is not just going to be by saying, oh, we have a town hall, it's very important and it's nice, it helps you. Definitely it has to go something much more fundamental to understand what speaks more to them and what aspect of these town halls would be relevant to that.
We have to give motivation to them and change their culture. I agree. So explaining to them why they have the what, but they don't have the why. We need to give them the why.
Well, to Judith's question or point there, it's surprising because they obviously get support from the community. So why don't they want to engage with the community? If the town halls are focused on the topic of governance, which I think is what we've been saying that it has been to date, that maybe just doesn't feel relevant enough to them in terms of engaging with community to promote what they are and get ready for the next funding round. So I would imagine, I'm guessing that it's not that they're not interested in community, but that they need a relevant community experience that it seems to them. And I from experience working with a DAO platform for a year and being involved in a bunch of other similar groups, a lot of developers don't want to talk about governance. They just don't. It doesn't mean that they don't care about the community, but they just need a relevant kind of event for them.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But still, if I would have a proposal up on the platform, I would want to show my name on screen alone as much as possible to the community, even without talking. But yeah, I mean, you're raising a good point.
Judith,
it's true what you say, but
sorry, Judith, not when you know that you can get funding without the community. That is the issue, right? And that is where we must be able to tie the power of what this community means to the proposals, right? People need to understand that by coming in and showing your face and people getting to know you, you increase the chance of getting funded and getting refunded because people now know you beyond just your project, but for the ideologies that you stand for and the things you represent, right? So this is where I was coming from when I said beyond the awareness. We have to be able to show correlations between what is happening here and how it becomes relevant to them, because most of them got funded without the community. We just read their proposals and we did that, right?
We have two perspectives here, right? From many. One is that, for instance, Gavriel mentioned governance, Judith mentioned community. So only, and I'm going to give, for instance, another perspective, Gavriel on governance and why teams should be more into it. Because what's going to happen with their projects, it depends on governance. What's going to happen in the next round, it depends on governance. The way, for instance, we choose how to select a proposal, it's based in governance. So if you abstain from it, you might be losing opportunity to being selected again. So this is the why, this is the motivation that we have to give to the teams for them to participate, not only in the community engagement, but also in governance situations. Of course, not all of them will say, yay, let's go to the governance call. It's not like this, but it's important for them. Yubi was telling about the importance, right? They might be aware, but they have to know the importance of why they should be doing that. And having these two directions, it's not excludent. We might, within this process that we are talking here of having many channels and opportunities and diversity of topics, we might have those as well, but we have to show people that they are important in their overall framework, definitely.
And how can we do that?
Well,
Yeah.
Please, Gabriel, please.
Yeah, I think that's the essential question maybe that we're getting to is not that we should think maybe like I suggested, well, devs aren't interested in governance, so don't try and get them involved. Maybe it's a question of how, as you said, Judith, how do we make funded teams more interested in community, in governance, because they can see that it serves their interests for whatever it is, for more funding opportunity, for more revenue for their AI services as the marketplace becomes popular, for learning about, again, AI methods and tooling or whatever it is that they're interested in. So it's maybe I'll say that it's about relevance, right? And we've got to work out as a community, maybe we can take that on and think our job as a deep funding community is to attempt to figure out what is the relevant topics of conversation that AI developers would be interested enough that they would come and participate in our conversations. Not maybe governance is not it. Fair enough. Maybe governance is not it for them. Maybe it's not the first thing that they're going to be excited about. But that's maybe the research we've got to try and play with and figure out.
Yeah, totally agree. Kenn?
I agree with Gavriel that having topic-specific breakout rooms and workshops seems to work well. In the past, I've noticed that developer presentations are very detailed and in-depth. So perhaps that could be combined with governance topics. So the developers are present and their input is solicited, but we're also listening to them in terms of the presentation, and the complexity and the rich detail of what they're doing is given to the rest of us who may not be expert in that.
Maybe do a community governance poll at the end of a workshop presentation, so they experience actual governance from a voting perspective and influence something as part of the workshop that they attend.
Yeah, it's a little bit subtle, admittedly, but I think it could be beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We've tried before the polling, yes. It was actually, but the difference from what you are saying, Gabriel, it was during a governance meeting. Then we had the poll. Perhaps what you said, right? Having another topic, and then, hey guys, by the way, we have this here to decide. What do you think, right? And also for the I tried, actually I didn't try, we did, right, with this marketing circle, to try to bring the community into decisions. We started with something more simple to see how it would go with the name of the new, the Spotlight Day, former Idea Fest, right? So I proposed it to the, hey Mauro, what's going on there? I suggested to the marketing circle to, hey, let's get something that's not critical that we can experiment, and let's give three names for the community to vote on and decide the name of this event to be decided through the community. And from my perspective, it was very successful, right? So of course, this is not governance per se, but it was an experiment that I was willing to have further, for instance, Twitter poll or something after the X space, for instance, and some sort of thing might work as well.
On the back of that, Rafael, the question that Mauro had right at the beginning of this call was about asking developers what they want to talk about, what topics they care about. Maybe that's a good way to get the ball rolling, is invite the technical developers for AI services that we do have in the community that are engaged, and set up a small series of X-space conversations that go into those specific topics, and then just see if we can get that as a snowball effect and attract more relevant developers. And then we're actually going to learn and answer Mauro's question, because we're asking the question in order to set up an event, and so we learn about what developers care about while attracting them.
That's the big question. What do AI developers actually care about?
Now on, and to see how are the outcomes of the town hall. It's true that sometimes it's not too much people, but we are still 19 and it's more than 1 hour 20 minutes of call. So the conversations keep interesting, and it happened the same in all the town hall. It's supposed to be only 1 hour and extend. And if you see the track of participation, it doesn't load too much. It's still in leading the exactly same number, just only one person left. So also, I guess for the ones that are connecting, it's still interesting to her what the people think. And Walter opened the discussion in the beginning of the town hall, and he's still raising his hand until he has his camera off, still listening the conversation. So it shows also the potential in some aspects.
Walter, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it funny that you speak of those AI researchers way out there. Another quick look at the list of participants. I see at least 4 present. We're people. I know it seems like a strange idea, but we're just people. And but in terms of the venues, I can tell you how we've been using Zoom environment in more meaningful ways than something like Spaces on Twitter can. So of course, videos, for example, in Ambassador town halls, we record, cut them up, post them. Also, we have like 2 different transcription agents running now, because Zoom agents that are built in can provide very accurate attribution of who said a particular phrase. And behind the scenes, we're experimenting with post-processing transcripts, extracting information, providing chat interfaces to that data. I don't know if you noticed, but Felix have done a chat interface to reputation work. I've done a chat interface to the steering console work. So there are these additional capabilities. And of course, in addition to faces, you can do presentations through sharing, the desktop. So there are very strong reasons to hold, more substantive meetings on Zoom, not because I like the company or anything, but because there are genuine features that we're leveraging effectively.
And as an AI developer, what would you like to talk about? Give us some topics that you would like to have discussed at town halls, if you can. Only if you want to.
Sure. I'm actually give me 10 seconds, because I don't want to rattle off. I'll give me a chance to think about it.
Yeah, sure. You can pop in later. Duke, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so on that, I was going to suggest the possibility of probably delegating, maybe a team of 3, 4, 5 people, could be less, who could conduct a survey, of the developers in the ecosystem, with the developers in the ecosystem, and get directly, their thoughts, feel their pulse on this subject. What do they think? We could start from the awarded teams, and then begin to extrapolate our data from there. And then in the course, we'll be able to understand, like I said, we'll be able to feel their pulse and know what they're interested in and the kind of topics to curate, if at all we're implementing this.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Duke, were you finished or did you cut out?
Oh yeah, I was done.
Okay.
It was a quick one. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks. On this research or survey thing that we are constantly talking here, which is very important. Ubi brought this input of, hey, we have to understand, right? Yes, absolutely. This is the first step. I would like to also bring another data for you guys. Round 3, where we had record breaking of proposals. We had, for instance, 54 proposals under the new projects, RFPs, and tooling, which are technical tools, right? And we had 55 proposals for marketing and ideation, which is basically business and marketing, right? People that are more directed to that. So we have half to half. So we do need developers in our ecosystem. We need more and more and more and more and more. Absolutely, yes. But we also have this huge amount of ecosystem members that have this perspective of being more business oriented and well in this area. Okay, just to give a input here. Please, Walter.
Judith, so to answer your question in a little, hopefully more meaningful fashion. So there are two main reasons we want to talk specific technical areas. One is to get some exposure and exploration, and another one is to actually compare notes, share ideas, maybe even collaborate with the ones who are actively in it. So for example, with the knowledge graph work, there is a total of 4 proposals currently being worked on that have, some innovation in this area, but there is probably like 5 times as many, so there's maybe half a dozen people, So what I'm saying is that if there is a topic that a bunch of people want to hear about and start kind of getting some real exposure to, that would be a great one to do some kind of intro, presentation on and Q&A and so on. As to people who are already actively in it and advancing it, the population is fairly small. So I mean, to me, that's one big area that everybody's curious about, and probably not as many people actually know what it means.
Yeah, okay. Rafael, you still have your hand up? Is that still up from before, or?
It's good that you called me again, because I need to do a correction here with the numbers. We used to have this portal. The portal, that's why we changed it for our own portal, because sometimes we lost data. So we had 93 projects under the technical side, and 55 projects on the business side, marketing and ideation. Okay, so this is interesting because it goes with what Gavriel found. More 2/3 being more heads down to projects, and the other 1/3 more towards the community. I see some correlation, but it's not necessarily what we have. We have people from both sides willing to do different things, right? But it's an interesting coincidence, at least.
I'm just still trying to understand why developers are not that interested in community stuff. Are they just generally people that prefer to be off screen and just do their coding work? Like they just generally prefer not to be social?
I'll speak to that as a non-developer, so take it with a pinch of salt, having worked with developers for 20 years. So I definitely have a very mixed experience. a lot of developers, some developers are incredibly, massively social. Some of the most social people at conferences in the room are very deep technical developers. In general, I think developer communities want to get stuff done. And if what they're being invited to, it doesn't, like, they'll go to conferences, they'll be social, but it's a small percentage of the time where they really just, they want to change the world through code. So they're going to try and invest their productive time into coding, and that will keep them distracted from the noise and distraction of the social things that they might be interested in. But they really want to be as what they see as productive as possible. And again, I'm not a developer, I'm not trying to speak for that community, that's my experience. But hopefully that gives some possible perspective.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting. I'm trying to understand, because I really cannot connect with that mindset, to be honest. So I'm really trying to understand what's going on there. But
we have here about 5 developers only in the, well, now it's now 17.
The social
16.
ones. Those are the social developers.
The social ones. Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you, guys. Please tell us what you want to talk about.
And they are even smiling. You see, look, 3 of them are smiling.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are social.
All right. We're coming up to 1 hour and a half, and I want to be mindful of your time. This has been a great discussion. I'm just going to do a quick check in the room if anybody has any other thoughts to add regarding town halls, town hall formats, what we could add to a town hall, what we should take away from a town hall, what topics we can discuss. Just if you have any final thoughts, now is your time to speak up. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think.
But personally, it's just the tying together what Rafael's been saying and what Ubio's been simplifying is what are the needs of those proposers and those that are lurking? What do they need to get out of the town hall? And then what needs to be said in the town hall, which bridges to what Rafael's saying. If we can connect those two, then that's just, in my opinion, the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Last words, anybody? We're still at 17 participants, 1.5 hours into the meeting. Guys, this is really good.
I always like the salon style. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please, Ken, please.
I'm biased towards the salon style presentation where there's a bit of entertainment and then there's deep discussion and then there are breakout rooms. But I don't know if that would be appealing to the community as a whole. I would find it entertaining.
Sorry, the first one was what? Where there's discussion, breakout rooms, and
entertainment, where there's a presentation that maybe is visual or music or what have you, just to kind of break the ice and warm things up and provide a bit of a framework. That appeals to me, but it certainly may not appeal to everyone.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with that. That would be my preferred format as well.
Judith,
Awesome.
I just want to ask the transcript from the meeting. How do we get access to it? I think there's a note taker, right? Is it yours? Okay, it's not.
It's not mine.
It's mine.
Okay, Curtis, can we get access to it, please?
Yes.
Or can I? Because I think there's I would like us to analyze some things for the focus group. So if I can get the transcript, it will be very helpful.
I'll have it to you today, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. If not, we have the full recording if you also need that.
Yes, Juan Pablo, you will send the recording to YouTube, right?
Yes, I will send the recording. I will just edit it and upload it on YouTube. And indeed, we are using Monica AI just to do transcripts. So if it's necessary, I will just paste the document on the YouTube content when I publish the video.
And it's on
Okay.
YouTube and also our portal. Okay, guys, if you go to deepfunding.ai, you can go at updates, find the town halls recordings, and then find the same video that JP is uploading.
Okay, everyone. Well, this was really helpful. Thank you. And there was so much passion in this meeting. So many great ideas. Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence and all this massive amount of input that I now have to organize. I'm very grateful for it. So thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you in the next town hall or in the next listening sessions, which will be next week. And yeah, enjoy your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are around the world. And yeah, see you in the next one.
Thank you, Judith,
Bye-bye.
for
Bye-bye.
organizing.
Thank
everyone.
you.